Hey there, welcome to my studio here in New York City. I'm here with Cadence. And in this video, we're going to talk a little bit about composition. I get this question a lot. The most common question is, why do you always chop off the top of somebody's head? What they really mean is, Daniel, how do I compose my images? So what we're going to do is I have a very simple lighting setup, really kind of a versatile outfit. We'll call this versatile. And we're going to shoot a few different compositions, and I'll talk about why I would frame things the way I would. Generally speaking, it's going to be different depending on your subject, what the goal of the shot is, so many other things. All these things they talk about, like don't cut off this, don't cut off that, it really all just depends on what you're doing. So, but let's just talk about why we're framing each shot and why we would do it. So again, I've got this 3-foot octagon, just a really simple light with a kind of a off-white background. I'm set about 50 millimeters, which is kind of normal. And I'll start with a 3/4 shot. So if I'm gonna shoot a subject 3/4, well, actually I'll do full length. People love full length. If you're going to shoot somebody full length, typically what you want to do is you want to put your camera roughly at their waist height. This is not going to work ideally for this background, but I'll just show you guys. So if you're at their waist height, then what happens is they don't look distorted, right? Her face still looks good because we still have to consider that, right? She looks normal, right? Because I know that sometimes people here, they're like, oh, you want to make somebody look tall, you get low. Well, actually, can you stand more in the center? That way, yeah. It's kind of a small background, so we'll probably end up having to crop the sides, but if we want to actually use this. If we get real low with the camera, what's going to happen is, yeah, she'll look tall, but in a really artificial way. Like, it doesn't look right. You know, if you stay level roughly with their waist, you're going to find the images are going to look much more natural and people will look the way they look. You can make people seem or feel taller by how they dress. Waist high is usually a good place to be. Plus, that's the perfect height to sit on an apple box. So honestly, full length shots, people ask about them all the time, but it's the least common thing that you'll probably end up doing. Unless you're shooting fashion or something, you're probably not shooting people full length all the time. So I think the most common way they'll shoot people is 3/4. So 3/4 would be like typically waist up or maybe thigh up, depending on what your definition of it is. Like if she's standing like that and I like the way she's standing, what I can do is I'm gonna stay roughly the same height. I'm gonna come up a little bit, right? What I wanna do is always keep my camera, notice how the corner of her head was a little cut off? I don't care about that. But I always wanna keep my camera flat on the top of her head. So if I'm looking up with the camera, it's gonna look weird. Again, I'll do it again, but I'll look up with the camera. See the difference? Right, you can see here, put them next to each other, right? Looking up at somebody doesn't feel natural. So what you want to do is bring your body as level as possible down so that the top of their head, assuming if you want in the shot, is going to be there, but you don't have to tilt up to get it. You want to raise your body up and down, you know, ideally on a tripod if you're going to do it all day, or you can have really good, you know, muscles going up and down your legs. So again, I'm leveling my camera, right? So a lot of cameras have levels in them. So if you feel more comfortable, turn your level on and we can see how much better that looks, right? We're not looking up or down at them. And again, she's keeping her chin level. If she brings her chin up, it will still work. You don't want to force that by your position. So interestingly enough, the tighter we get on somebody, right, the taller we're gonna end up getting. So if I come in closer to, let's say, do like a chest up shot, like a, also sometimes called 3/4. Again, I'm now standing taller, right? So the top of her head is flat in the image frame. That's going to be important. Right? Simple. If now, depending on what you're going to use the image for, now we'll start talking about portraits a little bit because this is a little relevant. If it's going like online somewhere, sometimes people want space around it. So that's important to know. If you're doing like a clean white shot, you may want to leave extra space, because they might want to put it onto, let's say, a website where they're going to, you know, put white around. Obviously my background's not lit white, but you can see here I'm leaving space around. But if you're trying to do something that has more impact, sometimes you want to get in closer. So now we're going to get to that idea of like getting in real close. If you watch a lot of movies, I watch a lot of movies.
I do too.
Yeah. When they do close-ups of people, they're typically coming in as close as possible to get the engagement, kind of reducing the amount of stuff in the background. People aren't going to, this is actually something photographers say. If you cut off the top of their head, people won't know that they have hair up there. First of all, who cares? For that image, does it really matter? I mean, but obviously we can see I'm just not going to just, yeah. What's important when we're framing somebody up is their eyes, their face. So if I come in, and Kane says the nice bangs, I can come in here. I want to keep my composition. If I just do that, right, that looks weird, right? Because now I'm chopping off this to the top of her head. Bizarre. So what I have to do is get in real tight. Now, boom, it grabs the person. So again, not that's weird. That's cutting off top of somebody's head. That's more of an effective composition. Now, a lot of times when I'm doing those shots, so I will go, again, going back to the cinema thing, I'll go horizontal. Because that's very powerful. Right, and now we're getting these shots where there's space for her to breathe. It's tight in on her. It feels like that. And if you notice where I am height-wise to her, we're roughly the same height, so I'm standing up totally tall. If she was more petite, I would be down. You don't want to shoot down at people just as much as you don't want to shoot up at them. It just looks weird. Keep your camera should not be tilting when you're shooting people. It should be level. So whatever you need to do to frame up the person's, whatever part of their body you're doing, the camera should always stay level. This is especially important if you're using like wider lenses. So let's take a few like this so we can see the difference. We can work it like that. Nice and clean. And again, this might be good for a personality shot, a headshot, something like that. This is not going to be good for a website where they're going to put white all around it because they're going to want to cut the person out. So in that case, I would leave enough space around so that I can do that. So that's why you leave space. But if we notice, if this is just going to be a portrait, normally any one of these ones where it's tighter is going to be a much stronger composition because I'm in there tighter. And that one's not even as tight as I could be. Even tighter can be even more powerful, right? So that's why we get in tight. Boom, in there. So hopefully that was helpful. I guess let me know how wrong I am in the comments below.
There's always someone who
Right.
has to disagree.
Yeah. There is no exact way. If you're looking in a book and it tells you this is how you do it, that's a good place to get started. But look at your subject. But remember, keep the camera relatively level, put yourself at the right height so that you can get the frame that you want, and think about the final use of the image. And that's going to help you a lot in your compositions. I'll put Cadence's information in the description. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe, ring the bell so you get the notifications, and I'll see you next time.